All right, everyone. Welcome to another Jean Jacques Machado No Gi Required. Today I have to me as a special guest, my brother, the number three of the Machados, Rigan Machado, the heavyweight of the family, the one who tortured all his younger brothers and older brothers since we're born. Rigan, welcome to I would say our show. We have a lot of questions. I have questions about myself, some of the things that I know, but I really like a lot of people out there to know from your own words. And to start out, I'm going to ask you if you remember when actually was your first experience with Jiu Jitsu?
Jiu-Jitsu for me was very natural because I have the opportunity to move from the small city of Teresópolis to Rio de Janeiro. I have opportunity to live in the house of Carlos Gracie and his kids in Ipanema. Yeah, I remember I was very young. I was around 14, but I started to have a great opportunity to training jiu-jitsu full time, like morning, on the evening, late at night, and I have a chance to be surrounded by Horse Gracie. At that time, Carson Grace. I trained Carson. I trained Horse. I trained with everybody. But the main person who focused to help to build me up for competition was Carlos Grace Jr. He was the one who really tried to be the real coach. Horace Grace was the older brother, more like advisor, Crawling, Helium, my brother Carlos. Everybody kind of helped a little bit, but Carlos Grace Jr. was the one who really pushed me to fall in love with the sport and to start fall in love in competition. I think before that was organic, like having fun with my cousins, play at the academy, but not like 100% like when I moved to Rio de Janeiro to live with Carlos Grace.
How was that? How many years did you live at Uncle Carlos' house?
Uh, Probably like from 14 to 23.
And how is it? Because I tell everyone that is the difference in your case, our case, where we grew up and we hear so many stories from the people who create jiu-jitsu. How is it every day waking up in the morning and having breakfast, having lunch, and sometimes dinner, and sit down and listen to their stories, listen to how they related to jiu-jitsu? How is that? Because not many people have
Uh,
the privilege to
when they,
be in the position
yeah,
that you
yeah,
were.
was a gold time for sure. But to live in the house was, example, my experience, Carlos Grace, was my uncle, my uncle Carlos. We have a very good, close relationship, me and him, because I spend a lot of time with him during the day, lunchtime. He loved to talk, and sometimes some of his kids didn't have the patience to listen some of the stories. But for me, because I believe I was the nephew, I always loved to hear the old stories he used to tell about jiu-jitsu, about his growing up, about when he moved to Pará, to Rio de Janeiro, how was like reading a book every time we have a chance to spend time together. But we have a very good relationship. He loved my my game of jiu-jitsu. Um, he we It's like an uncle, né? My uncle Carlos. Uh, I didn't see him like Master Carlos Gracie. For me, it's like my uncle Carlos. And for me, we have a family relationship. It was pretty cool too.
Is there any particular story that you remember that he told you growing up?
Yes. Sometimes around 14 to 15, I always asking him stupid questions. I remember one time he was in the living room He, I went to him, Uncle Carlos, why you wake up so early? He used to wake up around 4 in the morning to start his exercise and start eating very early on the morning. He do have his nutrition for him is super important. He always never miss a meal. He be sure he eat the right type of food. He's eating super organic and super health. And I remember sometimes I ask him why sometimes you don't have a break, like go to McDonald's, wake up late. You know what I mean? He start for a stupid question. I gonna explain to a way like for a stupid kid like you to understand. And I looked to him like he hates stupid questions. And he looked at me. He put his leg behind his head. And he didn't warm up or anything. He come stretch. He put his leg behind the head. He stand up. He stay on the balance for a little bit. Sit down and put the leg back. This answer your question. Yeah. Yes, yeah. I was like, always come out these silly questions. He in the end the question he always end up laughing, but he gets so mad when somebody come to him and ask like stupid questions like yeah, I was the one who always end up asking him questions like that. But Carlos Gracie was very sweet. To me, he always liked to talk and always explain to me things. I have a great uncle to guide me in many different ways. Carlos Gracie was amazing.
And how it was like, I know we have our, I remember when you moved to Rio, we were staying in Teresópolis for a few more years. And how was it living with all the cousins, which are so hyper and so much altercations inside the house and
for
all
me,
that?
it was amazing because I was a country kid, basically. Like I have the discipline. Growing up in Teresópolis, we have a routine to complete different than one that moved to Rio. Like wake up, go to school, this and that, do the homework. Um, we have this lifestyle with a lot of discipline from mom and dad, you know. But when you move to Rio over there, it's completely different. Everybody wake up, go surf, go this, go that, go training, and you have these cousins who have more a complete lifestyle, like a very. We travel all the time. Weekends you go to Búzios, you go to Teresópolis, you go to always looking for adventure. You always training, always wanna get ready for the next fight. For me, it was very entertainment because you used to live on the mountains and sound like you live right Ipanema Beach. You go
Few blocks from the beach.
every day. You go over there, you sit on the sand, jump on the water, go surf, go do this, go do that. You set up like surrounded by new people, new. It was amazing. It was a great experience to have a chance to move from
We,
a small
we,
city to a big city.
we could call that a jiu-jitsu lifestyle, that basically everything that comes up in terms of learning process is based on the
Yes.
life of Uncle Carlos and Carlos Gracie Jr. and everyone gives their advice, their input in
Yes.
your life.
Yeah, I think the moments I have is I have a great coach behind me. I have this passion to training consistent. I was very consistent in my training, and I have opportunity to be friend of all the people at the academy. That was amazing because when you surround your friends as fighters, and that's the environment you all the time you're talking about fighting, you practice, you travel, you training. Weekends, the whole group go together for competition. Was very cool.
Because I tell people that we not just learn jiu-jitsu, we lived
Yes,
jiu-jitsu in the roots,
agree.
because the stories, everything that we talk about, everything that we do in our
Yeah,
life, jiu-jitsu is a base of our conversation. Everything
yes.
comes up, jiu-jitsu become
I f-
the main power, the main purpose for us to do what we do.
Yes.
When when did you feel, or if you ever felt any pressure coming from the family? Because in our house, you're the first one that people throw at the tournaments and open the gate for all of us.
I was gonna ask that. There was the way you described your uncle. He lived a life of like really rigid, extreme discipline, like a very disciplined life. Was that something that he imposed on you guys, or was it more like kind of like
I
quiet
I
leadership?
think Carlos Grace, the time I have to spend for him, he was outside the jiu-jitsu a little bit. He loved to talking about. We get along all the time. He answer, guide us the best he could, but his focus was in the
The
nutrition.
Nutrition, okay.
He have so many clients. That was his number one passion. The people who we focused the most was the kids of Helio Gracie, which I have, me and my brother Jean Jacques exclusive have a very close relationship with Rickson. I have a very close relationship with Crawling, Carlos Gracie Jr., and the other members of Horse Grace at the Academy too. I have opportunity to have so many people the academy like Mauricio Gomes, Macarrão, Márcio Stambovski, some of the other blacks belts over there like Ronaldão. It's like amazing because you have so many people like give you different tools.
They were
For you
already
to
black
play.
belts when you were like
Yes.
yellow blue belt,
I
right?
think the guy who I look up a lot in training was outside the family. I look up to Márcio Stambovski. I think he have this amazing flexible guard. I look up to Mauricio Gomes, who have this knee on the stomach. I always look up to Rickson. I was a big fan of Rickson growing up, watching his fights. Some of the other students, like even not like, um uh,
It was a that was a great generation because they were all Hollis Gracie students, you know. And Carlinhos was among the students.
yes, I think the biggest rival at the time was between Horse students at the time. I used to practice Carson Gracie students.
The rivalry between those two
That was
schools.
the Carson Grace and Horse Grace was toe to toe the two best clubs in competition at the time.
And I think when he say best clubs is basically one club because a lot of people don't know the facility were used by both Carson and Hollis.
Yeah, you've talked about that.
3 days a week was
that's-
Hollis Gracie.
That's pretty
3 days a
amazing.
week was Carson Gracie. I mean, we are in a good way rivalry, but we train on the same mat. It's just different days, and that was growing up like this. That was fantastic. Higan, when did you feel that you actually were good in jiu-jitsu? Who told you that? When? Because growing up was nobody telling you anything. It's just you starting to go for training, then start giving a hard time to higher belts. Then suddenly people start looking at you a little bit different. It's like, hey, this kid is, I don't know. When did you realize that? You know what? I think I'm pretty good in that.
I never felt like I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you should.
Uh,
You should.
I
'Cause
always
you were
no, I
pretty
know.
damn good.
I always like the battle, the war. Like I think what helped me in competition. The best feeling in the world for me is to go to a competition, win a fight, and have the pleasure of winning a fight. I remember I always ask Carlos, I want to fight that guy. I want to fight that guy. I want to fight that guy. I was looking up to fight the best guys at the time to compete. I think that helped me a lot because you have the challenge, it's like this desire to fight some of the best guys. I never want to pick the fights. I want to fight the best guys at the time. I think this helped me a lot to
I think what sounds, and I understand that what drove you so many times was just that feeling of victory, winning, that
yes,
sensation
I
of
didn't.
winning.
Yeah, I didn't care much about medals or titles.
Just the challenge.
I want to fight that
Yeah.
guy who give me the best fight at the time. I remember some fights I have. I think the biggest rivals I have in competition, competing from the beginning was Carson Gracie students, and later Rickson started. When Ross died, Rickson built a big group of competitors, and some the Rickson students come, which used to be the same club, but later come rivals.
Became rivals.
Because I start represent Barra Grace at the time, and Rickson have his own
The Gracie
team,
Maita.
Gracie Maita, and Rickson have couple students. One was Kaique, the other one was Marcelo Berghi, and I believe these two at the time was the top students in competition from
Rickson's
from Rickson. I remember I fought Kaique, and Kaique was, I believe Kaique was the best technician.
Yeah, the most technical student ever.
Rickson at the time, but I beat Kaique on the competition. And Marcelo Bering was the one Rickson training very hard for fight against me. Yeah, I beat him the first time, the brown belt. After this, Rickson trained him very hard again, and I beat him on the black belt. Marcelo Bering, for me, he grew in competition. To have a chance to fight somebody as good as him and have a chance to win the fight was a big accomplishment as a competitor. This rival, if Marcelo Bering was a healthy
Was a healthy rivalry between.
rivalry,
yeah.
because outside the mat he have a child with my cousin Kirla, which
was a part
is
of the
Kiwan.
family. Yeah.
Kiwan. And but he was, I love it to hang out with him outside the mat, but come to a point when you go to competition, you have to look that to the side. He said, he looked at me, let's go to a war. He said, let's go to a war. And we finishing, we shake hands, let's have some acai after.
Which it's interesting because I was just talking to Jean Jacques about this, because people have mentioned it in the past. One of the greatest fights of your generation was when you had to go against Rickson, and we spoke, in terms of the psychology of that, because number one, he's family. Number two, he's somebody you look up to, and I look at it like if I was in a tournament and they told me I had to fight my teacher, Jean Jacques. I don't know how did you manage that?
No, for me, to step on the ring and fight, it was natural for me. The problem, Rickson for me was my coach, and is a guy I look up to. Like,
Of course,
this guy been teaching jiu-jitsu for me for the last 3 or 4 years. He helped my game to come to a level as a loyalty to him, as to consider to him to be my coach. I said, why am I going to fight my own coach?
Mm-hmm.
I want to train to fight other athletes, but not to fight a member of my family and my coach. But come to a point we didn't have a choice. I remember the first time they come to talk to me, because it was a big event. It was sponsored by a
clothing
company. And I remember because it was a big exposure, was considered to be the number one event at the time, the one who put jiu-jitsu to the next level. And I remember the company start paying money for athletes. I was the first athlete to be sponsored by company. Later, he get all my brothers, my cousins, got everybody. Pretty soon, all the other brand start sponsor fighters. That was a good help for a lot of the fighters to make some extra money outside the academy. He come to a point, Rickson came to talk to me. He said, Rigan, we got to fight. And I remember, poor Rickson, I don't want to fight you, but in case I have to fight you, step on the ring, uh, I can't look you like a cousin. I'm gonna have to look you as a rival. And he said, yeah, let's go. Let's go to war, this and that. I said, you know what? I have to push this to the side and let's go to war. And that's what happened. I think it was a good fight because nobody hold back.
Oh yeah.
Rickson come 100%. I didn't know how to hold back. I didn't know how to fight for points. I said, man, in case you go, or you're going to submit me or I'm going to submit you. Or you're going to beat me or I'm going to beat you. I don't want to go to this battle holding back. I said, man, I don't care win or lose, but I'm going to go 100%. And I think that was something why the fight got super well talked, because I remember when we fight, nobody make one sound. Everybody was so quiet because it's almost like you see two superstars come from to fight, and everybody wanna say, man, I can't believe I'm gonna watch this fight. And the fight was amazing. I started in the beginning winning with a takedown. I get to his side, he escaped. I went to the back, he roll, come back. He pull for my guard, sweep. He come back. Was a very back and forth fights. And it's amazing because I remember every time I do a movement, the people screaming like crazy. It start winning. The people who watch was start like little by little. Hey, this kid have something. Let's support this kid. Because Rickson at the time was the supreme champion. It's like nobody come close to beat him. To have this new guy, this young guy, coming and do a good fight was amazing. But when you finish the fight, we shake hands and stuff. Even like after that, I start get bigger and stronger. I get a lot of 50 pounds bigger. Even one guy asked me, boy, you want to fight Rickson again? You think? I said, the problem people don't understand is like, example, when you fight somebody for your own family, for me, I said, boy, but I trained so hard to fight a member from my own family or a cousin. This didn't sound a rival, sound like it's not what I training for. I want to train to fight people from outside my family.
An adversary.
Yeah, it based like even in case I have the tools to beat him, I didn't want to do that. For me, to have opportunity to fight him was amazing. You know what I mean? Even I lost the fight. But example, after that, I won 100 other fights. And that helped me even more because when you come from a great battle, you're going to learn a lot. You learn from your mistakes. See, that was a big lesson when you have opportunity to fight somebody at that level.
And a few years after that, and you are the first one actually in our house to go for that adventure, to leave Brazil and come to US. Why did you left Brazil to come to US right after? What was the driving on that?
It was kind of funny because I remember one time I was sitting over there in Brazil. I think was in Teresópolis. I have a cousin named Carley Gracie, who
Carlos Gracie's one
Carlos
of Carlos
Gracie's son, named Carley. At the time he lived in the United States, and I was sitting for him, and he was talk to us. We like at the time we were 15 or 16. Yeah, I remember that story he telling how he ended up in America, how he start from zero and start like
he was visiting Brazil at that time, right?
yeah, he live in the United States, have a wife and kids and stuff, and he was explain this adventure he have. And for me, because in Brazil I have a good life, I have a father who give us everything we need. We never have financial problem in any level. We have an actual phenomenal lifestyle. We live in front of the ocean. We have everything we need. We go to the best schools. We have everything. My father have a big apartment. We live, have houses outside. We travel every weekend. And for me, I want to know I able to challenge myself as a man to learn how to do my own steps, to learn how to challenge myself to start from the bottom and climb myself to do something from my life. And when I have the opportunity, I have a cousin who live in Brazil. He for a little bit he went to Brazil to train jiu-jitsu. I was teaching him at the time. He stayed in my house. His name is Cesar Gracie. And Cesar Gracie live in San Francisco. I was talking to Cesar. I think when you finish your training, you back to San Francisco. I want to come with you. And he said, okay, come. Stay over there and stuff. It basically like, I said, okay. I have a girlfriend at the time. I asked my girlfriend, you want to come with me? She said, okay, let's go together. And basically, I went to San Francisco to stay with Caesars. And from there, didn't have much training jiu-jitsu there. He basically, like I said, San Francisco is no good because with no place to train jiu-jitsu, I need to find a location, a place to train. I remember I called my cousin Royce, and Horion got the phone and said, Paul, come to LA. And here we train in the garage, you're doing this, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, you know what, sis, I'm going to move to Los Angeles. San Francisco is great, but I need to train jiu-jitsu. I want to do wrestling. I want to do everything I can. And 3 or 5 months later, stay in San Francisco, I moved to
LA,
to Los Angeles. And from there, we got apartment in South Bay, and we start. Hori asked me, Rigan, teach here if yes. It was just Royce. Rickson just arrived too. Rickson teaching his garage. I teach with Royce on the garage. And from there, I said, that's perfect because now I have this. Let's find a place to train wrestling. And I start training wrestling in El Camino College with Tom Hazel, wrestler coach at the time. And he embraced me. I start going there, train jiu-jitsu. I said, now I'm perfect because I'm in my zone. I'm excited. Lift weights and train wrestling every day, train jiu-jitsu, teach. And that's basically like how little by little I started my life in LA was with Royce, the garage with Hori.
And I don't recall how long after that, a year or two, you went to Brazil to visit us. And you end up convincing Carlos to come back to LA with you, our older brother. Then John got very excited and they say, okay, I'm going too. Then suddenly now we have you, and then you brought in your bag 2 other brothers.
Was interesting because...
Then you left me alone in Brazil.
Yeah. No, you're doing pretty good. I remember your academy is super success in Baja. You have the biggest school in Baja. But for me, was not that. For me, I was opportunity to meet. I met Chuck Norris and Richard North, John Will, and they start like want to help us in some way. And basically, like I didn't want to do by myself. I said, I need support because I want to keep training. I don't want to teach all day and stop training. I want to be sure I keep myself fighting the best.
If I'm not wrong, you brought Carlos to share the hours with you, the time you're teaching for long hours.
He basically called Carlos. He explained the opportunities I have. I have a very good relationship with Chuck Norris at the time. And I was talking to Carlos, you speak English. You can come here, put Chuck Norris to talk to him on the phone. And Carlos got excited. Carlos said, okay, I come. But I didn't know John was coming. when they arrived in the airport, John was there.
Surprise.
John was explaining, yeah, man, my wife is pregnant. I want to challenge myself. I just said, okay, John, welcome. And basically, John, we stay in the house, me, Caesar, Carlos, John, little by little, we start building up everything. After a while, I think a year later, Jean Jacques was the one we try bring.
I came in
Come
like
2 years after.
I came in just for 21 days vacation. Then was the time you have the UFAF convention with Chuck Norris in Vegas. And you guys every day say you should come and stay, you should come here. I remember have a school in Encino that Chuck opened up for us, and you have the garage in Redondo Beach. And you guys, let's come, let's go, let's go.
Was a great time because in the beginning you discover everything little by little.
And-
Jean Jacques came, it was amazing.
And let me ask you this is being living in a time that we did not have as much technology to learn jiu-jitsu. We have to put ourselves 100% in trying to mimic other people's movements to go back and ask each other, man, what can we do in this situation? In your lifetime in jiu-jitsu, from the early 80s until today's time, what would be the most significant difference between the jiu-jitsu back then and the jiu-jitsu today for you?
I think everything came about the rules, the competition. At the time I used to compete, the rules was very simple. Didn't have advantage. Was points, and a lot of the fights they pull for the guard and try to do armbar, triangles, and things like that. They have little bit spider guard, not much de la riva. The jiu-jitsu was very simple and was little bit kind of open. Was not that hard to find the submission because you see a lot of opportunities to do submission when you fight because the rules is pretty open. What is helped me a lot. I train a lot of wrestling, and I have chance to compete different styles for don't stop competing. I fought sambo, I fought wrestling, judo competition to keep myself active in competition. I didn't want to stop. That kind of challenge myself because I think myself jiu-jitsu for me is like I'm a grappling. I want to fight everything I can to not stop in competition. It basically like I couldn't go to Brazil because at the time my papers, I wait for the green card, the visa, and going through the process to get legal. And I didn't want to lose I have to fight in America in a different sports. That's when I start try practice Greco-Roman, freestyle.
You went to look for all kinds of grappling styles possible to keep you sharp.
Yeah, try see what I couldn't add for my game in jiu-jitsu. In base, the balance of wrestling, the takedowns of wrestling, the single leg, double leg.
And I think if I understood is the main difference from the jiu-jitsu in the early days for you and today was the simplicity of the rules back then. Kind of give more exposure in a way, in a good sense, for submissions to happen. And today is so many little rules that doesn't push forward as much as used to for people to expose themselves more for a kind of submission to happen.
I think the evolution of the rules changed the game. Example, I think the athletes start getting super strong. I think a lot of athletes, the sport Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu start create super athletes, like any another sport, like football, basketball. And some like you see, sometimes you arrive in competition, you see a blue belt look like Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And you start think like, man, these kids today, strength-wise, is not like at the time we used to compete, these super athletes come now early. And based like they start freezing the sport, they get one position, score some points, and they start even get difficult to score points. And the evolution of the rules, okay, you can win by have almost points, like advantage. And this changed the game because the jiu-jitsu start get very tight, very simple, very. Today, even after a while, for me, I have to study the rules because I couldn't understand the rules. The rules keep get complicate, and it was not simple like the time I used to fight. And
The fight doesn't flow as used to.
yeah, like I remember I was talking to one of my friends who won the championship. I remember, oh, how was your fights? How you submit him? How you did this? How? Say he, I won by two vantage. Yes, sir, you come a world champion by winning by two vantages. And for me, I was blown away. I said, man, that's a different. People don't train for points anymore. They train for score vantage. And I was, wow. But it's amazing to see because not only the rules is upgrade, but the athletes upgrade.
Yes.
And by the athletes upgrade, you start to see some amazing super athletes winning by super speed and super techniques, and the jiu-jitsu start get very fast. Like the evolution was unbelievable. Even I remember sometimes travel to New Zealand one time, and the guy asked, "Oh, he can show me some berimbolo." I I looked to the guy and said, "What the hell is berimbolo?" I don't even know what the guy talking about. I called Jean Jacques. Jean Jacques, have you heard about this berimbolo? I said, "Oh yeah, I was in Abu Dhabi. I saw some of the guys showing these, and I have to upgrade myself because you have to keep follow the growth of the knowledge. Another way, I live it doing a lot of seminars around the world. I have to keep myself a consistent student. It's good because I have the knowledge of the history, the beginning, all the steps. But for me, it's very important to keep follow. I don't want to stop my jiu-jitsu today. I want to keep studying for my students, for new black belts, for new champions. And for me, that is very important. You know what I mean? Because we live from jiu-jitsu. People say, "Well, Higgins are old jiu-jitsu." Yes, but I didn't stop learning. I still upgrade myself to be a new jiu-jitsu too. And I think that's what is amazing about what's keeping my passion alive. I keep learning all the time. That's
Now,
amazing.
going speed up a little bit forward. When when did you start? I always knew you love movies. I always knew because I grew up and you and Roger are the ones more in a good sense of the word fanatic about watching movies, horror movies or action movies and all kinds of movies. When was the point in the time that you realized that I know opening a school in Beverly Hills was a big step towards that direction, a way of having celebrities coming to you to learn jiu-jitsu or find out what is jiu-jitsu, and now today you became the most famous jiu-jitsu guy that teaches celebrities. How was your first celebrity after Chuck Norris? Because we all know Chuck Norris we met so many years ago that actually start training jiu-jitsu with you and become a student that constantly regular basis go and train with you, and suddenly another one comes and another one comes and you end up developing a way for them to train without getting hurt. When that started,
Um, was almost like an accident. Was not something like I never look at Hollywood like something I want to follow up. For me, it was I always loved movie. That was a passion. I was a big fan of Bruce Lee. I was a big fan of Steve Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and all these people who do martial arts in movies. Chuck Norris, all these was idols you grew up as a kid watching and fall in love with the action film. But for me, it was not something I want to have in mind to follow up. I think I always have schools to create super athletes to compete, to create the athletes to come the next generation of jiu-jitsu, and we've been doing that for so long. For me, I'm looking for a different challenge. I remember I have opportunity to open a school in Beverly Hills, and when I opened school in Beverly Hills, I have one student. My first student was an actor named Ashton Kutcher. And Ashton Kutcher, he was the one who opened a lot of opportunities and
A lot of doors for you.
guide for me business wise. To he's very wise. He's a very put his eggs in different baskets. He's in technology. He's have all kind of different business. He's an amazing business guy. And when you have a student like that, you talk to him all the time. I start. My school was not a normal school. Like I have a lot of problems in Beverly Hills for parking. And I started to realize that I can't have 100 students in the academy. I have to focus in big clients, focus in privates, and focus in small class because I can't have more than 20 people in my school because there's no place to park in my area, and that's a problem. And suddenly, like Ashton Kutcher start help to bring his friend, he bring another guys, this and that, and little by little, by meeting people from the industry, they always try to upgrade in the films the next generation in fighting martial arts. I think because the UFC, a lot of people start say, "Hey, teach us some jiu-jitsu on the film," and start with Steve Seagal. He on the Siege, he wanted us to go there and teach some arm bars, and end up using my brother for him to armbar my brother on the film. After this, some films, small other films, little by little, Chuck Norris put us in Texas Rangers, and little by little, because you start meeting so many people in the industry, you start like, what's this business? Let me figure out what it is, because it's like a fake fighting for films, and little by little you start getting to know better fight choreographers, better stunt coordinators, producers, actors, who start want to upgrade them in the action films, and have opportunity to become friends of Paul Walker and Van Diesel. After this, I end up working with a company called 8711, and they asked me to help to be advisor to train Keanu Reeves for John Wick. And the film became very success, and have a lot of jiu-jitsu and judo throws, and people start calling me, and I have the opportunity to work with Chadwick Boseman, or the Black Panther. He wanna do some different style. He wanna add some grappling, some little bit different stuff for his style of fighting on the film. And I trained him. He had some jiu-jitsu on the fight scenes, and a lot of opportunities start coming. And I start like, okay, let me climb myself, not just to be advisor, but to be a fight choreographer and come a stunt coordinator in films. And little by little, I start get offers to be a stunt coordinator. You understand how to put the team together to do the action films and stuff. You're getting better and better. But was very interesting because another day I have, I think it was Hollywood Report and Verizon, who is a local newspapers related to the industry of Hollywood. And they want to do some interviews, and I ask who you want to interview, which student you're looking for to talk. I said, no, we want to do with you. I said, with me? Yeah, because you have the number of celebrities training for you, and you come one of the biggest guys in this fight for train these celebrities for action films. I was surprised. I said, wait a minute, that's amazing. I don't understand what it is, but a lot of people start coming from Brazil, some other magazines. I end up in magazines in Beverly Hills who has nothing to do with Jiu-Jitsu, but relate to what I'm doing with the celebrities for the films. And this is something new for me, who I play around and see how far I go, but it's kind of cool because in the beginning when you meet a celebrity, it's so special. You meet like Stallone, you meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. For these guys, you Steve Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme was so special for me. But it's funny because after a while you meet so many celebrities, these kind of disappear. Now when they meet celebrities, like I meet like a friend who wanna train jiu-jitsu, that's kind of cool because when you see somebody from the movies who come to you, you wanna training, for me it's like wow, okay, let's train. That's kind of super cool. Like to get in that position, you look the celebrities like a normal person.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess and that's what they want for sure. And Higan, is there in your personal side in life, is there any funny story that happened to you as you're a kid with your cousins, or any altercation or anything that happened that you remember that was funny to you or danger or something?
Uh, yes, you have growing up. You have all kind of things happen to you when you hang out with growing up with Renzo, Royce, Hoyle, Helium, and growing up in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, we end up a lot of times because we never go out like just one myself by myself. Always, I remember growing up going out in groups. I remember
And you need more than one car for sure every time.
I remember go out like two cars of all the cousins, but everybody's so young, everybody between 17, 18, 19. And I remember when they would get in a fight, it was like we used to train in the academy, but we didn't was wise enough on the streets. You know what I mean? I remember growing up with my cousins, we going to some battles and protect each other on the street. It was kind of a good lesson. I have a lot of things I see. I have seen all my brothers fighting. I see all my cousins fighting in the street, and to have a chance to see like my younger brother John fight on the street and defend himself well using jiu-jitsu, that was kind of cool because I saw John fight a guy one time twice his size. The guy is older. Jean Jacques Jones was 15 or 16. He
And man,
ended
jiu-jitsu
up,
works.
ended up defending
Jiu-jitsu works.
himself. These some moments I'm never gonna forget growing up to have a chance to use jiu-jitsu in a way, not to hurt somebody, but to be sure you protect yourself from some fights and stuff.
Is there any project that you are working right now, or something that ahead of you that you might want to say something about it, or maybe want to
Yeah.
hold back for our
No, no, I
next
love to.
the next
Uh,
conversation?
I have a technology business. I start a company with a few friends from a group from Kazakhstan. It's a technology company who try create the Uber, but for jiu-jitsu. Instead, you go into the competition come to you. And based like we've been working these projects of to create this next generation of events. But the way we create in a way like you fight for be the champion of the city. After this, you fight to be the champion for the state. And after this, you fight to be the champion from U.S. From there, you fight for other countries. To a point, you fight for become professional and make a lot of money. And this is something we've been working with the technology way to with the people. We have like almost 19 people right now work on that in a way like come very easy for people to
Make to those events.
yeah, because one the thing we discover by a lot of people don't like to go to the competition because a lot of people they get nervous, they go over there, uh, they fight one fight and they lose, they have to go back home. Uh, this we found a way to they can fight. The cat don't have nobody watch create a system which become very easy to create a competition like that. And after this, you have to go to another academy, create the fight, go to another academy, and he's created these steps like to become a champion. We've been working a lot. We have a little problem right now because of coronavirus. A lot of the people who work for us, some got the corona, and we decide like, okay, let's wait for all these pass. But next year we back in action as soon things start get back to normal. But I believe this is gonna change the game a lot
That's really
because
interesting.
Yeah, that's
you don't have no
a
idea how.
game changer.
Now I
for
have
sure.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've been super respectful because I could have put my teacher on the hot seat, but I would rather ask something more about this because you made it a point when you moved to your uncle's house. You said you were there from 14 to 23,
22.
22. That's your formative years growing up. My question is twofold. One, did you spend a lot of time with your brothers? Did you see them a lot?
Yeah, weekends I go to was an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay,
I
so
go to Teresópolis. But Jean Jacques, when I moved to Rio, after a while, Jean Jacques, John,
I mean,
and Roger, they
after he
got
moved, probably 3 years after,
3 years
moved to
later,
Rio.
they moved to Rio.
I mean, then we are housed like half an hour away from each other, but he still live with our uncle.
But then after that, then you came to the States. And it's just interesting because I feel we all kind of have this pattern in life. I know I did with my own brother where when you're growing, you kind of drift away. But if you're close, life always finds a way of bringing you back together. What do your brothers mean to you?
It's like each brother is a different character, is a different personality. Like example, I'm very close to my brother Roger. Roger relationship we have is very weird. Like example, I remember one time he stayed in my apartment with me. We barely talk. You know what I mean? But example, sometimes I come to the house, I open his room, I see he's there sleeping. I go to my room, I sleep like an angel. It's sometimes almost like when I come to the house, I open, he's not there. I wake up like 2 or 3 times during the night because he's not there. It's almost like
I gotta add something into that. At one time we did the brothers camp, and that was one way that we found to be able to see each other on the mat at least once a year. And we finished have lunch in the place, and the car was parking next to an ice cream store. And he said, "No, just a moment, I'm gonna get our ice cream." I said, "Man, we ate a lot in ice cream." He goes there, he comes back with 2 ice cream, one in each hand. Then we're inside the car waiting for him. It's like, boy, guy's gonna eat 2 ice cream after. As soon as he walking into the car, he goes like, "Oh, Roger, that's yours." Then we go like, what about us? He said, "No, I know Roger's what he likes, the flavors and everything. I don't know what you guys like."
No, but it's interesting because, I've had many talks with your brother and I know what his brothers mean to him. I mean, part of our discussion, I don't really know any of you very well other than being cordial, but I always ask and he always has an answer. You guys, even though you came together and then the world of jiu-jitsu in your lives everyone's kind of moved on to different areas,
Yes.
but you always find a way of.
Yeah, I think Jiu-Jitsu is something we have in common. It does help us to come together, to talk and stuff. We not work together, but we always support each other in many ways. Like example, each brother is amazing. Example, the relationship I have with Carlos. I never raised my voice to Carlos. I never raised my hand. I never have one fight with Carlos my whole life. Carlos was always like a father figure, brother figure. He basically, the respect I have for my older brothers is or the oldest one is amazing. He's the most gentle. He take his shirt to give to you. Whatever I need, what you need, I'm here for you and stuff. He always been like that. Jean Jacques for me was a younger brother who little by little got my respect. You know what I mean? The reason Jean Jacques got my respect because Jean Jacques.
I want to hear that.
He have a problem in his hand. He grew up without 4 fingers, and this never stopped him. And little by little, he before even jiu-jitsu, he was everything he do. He little by little comes super successful. Whatever he do, his ability was beyond normal. I remember he played soccer, phenomenal soccer player. It's like, goddamn, this kid can play soccer. And after this, he go play hockey. And he come a phenomenal hockey player, national level. I said, know what I mean? It's not like I push him, he come to jiu-jitsu, and he start being a super competitor. You know what I mean? Jean Jacques have this ability. Who I remember Carlos Grace explaining, like, oh, Rigan, you learning jiu-jitsu, you have to drill 100 times the techniques. You're very consistent. That's why your jiu-jitsu is good, because you put your time on the mat to get. Jean Jacques have this thing. You teach him one time, he start doing the techniques right away. This was his ability, who is very rare to find in athletes, because a lot of athletes is a different process of learning. It basically like it's very rare you find an athlete who you teach the techniques, he go in the competition, he start doing. And it's like, you didn't go to the process of repetition and doing this hard work. You go and do right away. And that was some ability he have. He start get the respect of myself and my cousins, because he start winning competition. We never have a relationship between me and my brothers like to talk too much, what I'm gonna do, this and that. They don't care. I don't care. It's about action. You do it, okay, I believe you. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Jean Jacques got, that's the kind of relationship I come, his older brother who come a big fan of his actions. My relationship with my youngest brother, he was like the little guy I protect all the time. Everywhere I go, I bring him. He loved me. He look up to, oh, my big brother is a champion. You know what I mean? He look up
for
even
sure.
his relationship I have with him still today is like this. Like he look up to me, whatever. What you doing? This and that. I said, I try get in the movie. He try get in the movies. It's almost like he try imitate you in some level. Even his kids have this unique relationship with his kids too, like that, because the father transferred that.
Higgins the favorite uncle of all the kids. The favorite uncle, all the kids, my kids, anyone kids in the family, he's the favorite uncle.
But Jean Jacques have so much respect for the brother, because he's a workaholic. I never seen a guy who works so hard in everything he do. This is a good motivation for the brothers, because whatever he do 110%. And this is kind of what motivate a lot of the other brothers, because you say, "Pô, Jean Jacques accomplished this, let's do too. Jean Jacques did this, let's do too." And this is what is nice about the relationship, because each of the brothers drive by each other. You know what I mean? In case I always was like that. I go to competition, sambo. I try bring the brothers to compete sambo. It's pretty soon Jean Jacques, John, we start travel. You beating everybody in some competing sambo, judo, whatever we do. We try and push each other. We follow each other in some way. You know what I mean? It's a good brothers. I'm very happy to have this amazing group of guys. Each brother is amazing guy.
I have a pretty easy question to you, and probably I'm gonna make some compliments according to how you answered that. And I asked that to everyone, and I did ask you before, but it's the first time asking you here in our No Gi Required podcast. Who is Rigan Machado? By Rigan Machado.
Rigan Machado is a simple guy. I leave my ego outside the door. I live by challenge. I live by new challenges. I think challenges is something who drive me. I think the moment I'm not challenged to accomplish things or to make a difference, I think like I stop living. And I think that's Rigan Machado. I love to find a new challenge, new things to do. I think that's good, because I always being the guy, okay, what's this? I want to try this. What's this? I want to try this. Yeah, I think this is good, because I'm help to open the mind for not just for me, but the all the brothers.
I think I have to add a few things in that. Who is Rigan? I never met anybody who does not like him. And if you and the people that been in his house and been with him, hanging out with him, knows that if you go to his house, he will sleep on the floor and let you sleep on his bed. He's the kind of person that Jiu-Jitsu in America today, it's around the world, it's bigger than we can even imagine. But I remember many people, Rigan used to go to Brazil, and a lot of people get a hold of him and say, man, I want to go to America, I want to start teaching Jiu-Jitsu there. Rigan brought so many people from Brazil, so many big names out there that today are doing well with Jiu-Jitsu, came here because of him. He brought all of them. Few of them never mentioned, never say anything. We know all of them. But he's the kind of a guy who, he say other people helping all of this. Man, he helped so many people and continue to do so in every area of people's life. I never met anybody say, man, I don't like your brother. Everyone that I talk to, like, man, I love your brother. Your brother did this for me when nobody did. And he does those things because the way he is. He never expect anybody to give him back anything, nothing. He continue to do so. Sometimes we even get mad at him, say, man, Rigan, be careful, that guy, this person. Don't care. He goes and help them out, and that's why I'm saying I have no doubt that all his success and all his achievements are on the way to happen. Rigan also was one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters I ever seen in my life. I think a lot of people that was before Instagram, social media, then people should look up and see, man, how many, he won everything possible in jiu-jitsu in Brazil. Every single tournament. He won so many fights with so many
Has some good fights.
big names, you know.
I've seen them.
He's very modest but he's one of the biggest names jiu-jitsu ever had, for sure. And he leading the pack in our family to not open just a door, to open a huge gate for us that were behind him, be able to have a chance and also succeed in the sport. Rigan, you're my brother. I love you, man.
Love you, brother.
Thank you for all what you've done
Congratulations
to
for
us.
podcast.
Thanks for
What's
being
the name
here.
of the podcast you said? It's Jiu-Jitsu No Gi?
Please,
Nope.
Jay.
No gi required. No gi required.
required.
Basically, you don't have to be a fighter to be here. You can
Any celebrity.
anybody can be here. And you are one of the biggest celebrities we had here so far,
It's a
Rigan.
pleasure. I'm impressed. You guys
Thank
did a good
you.
job.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Jay.
you. Thank you.
Thank you again
very
to
much. Appreciate
help
it.
me out. Mike, thank you, sir. And yeah, stay tuned for our next.
No gi required.
See you guys. Thank you, brother. Love you.